Voting is an integral part of the political process in a democracy, but a significant section of the electorate often chooses not to vote for lack of interest. During elections, voter apathy manifests in low turnout among eligible voters, especially in jurisdictions where voting is optional and the donkey votes where voting is compulsory. According to statistics from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, only about 35% of the over 70 million people who registered to vote in the 2011 general elections actually participated in the voting process. This implies that over 65% of registered voters did not vote, and is a far cry from expectations. What are the major causes of voter apathy? What role should political parties play in curbing voter apathy? And what should relevant orientation agencies do to guard against voter apathy? This is our focus on Nigeria Today, the first this week. I am Shegun Ojelade. Welcome. I'm being joined in the studio by Dr. George Mogalu. He is the National Auditor of the All Progressives Congress, APC. I welcome you to the program.
Thank you very much, Shegun.
I also have with me in the studio David Dogo. He is the Director FCT, Federal Capital Territory, of the National Orientation Agency. I welcome you to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, let me start with the politician in our midst. When you say voter apathy, how does it manifest? What does it mean, and how does it manifest during elections? Does it serve the politician, all the efforts that he has made during campaigns and all the arrangements that politicians have made? How does it serve them? Does it serve them when voters don't come out during elections?
No, you feel very disappointed. You feel very, very disappointed because you want the people to participate. You go around campaigning. You go around selling your party's manifesto and making assurances and making promises here and there. So you feel very disappointed when at the end of the day, people don't come out because it sends a very wrong signal. It goes to show that people are not interested, or people are not committed, or they don't want to be part of the process. So you're not generally happy about it. You wish that everybody gets involved. And the only way you can determine involvement is that the voters themselves vote. Because like INEC said from what you just said, that only 35%
yes.
vote.
In 2011.
In 2011, that's the only way you can determine. If, for example, 60%, 70% voted, then you'll be able to say, oh, a lot of people came out. That's why you could say confidently that there was voter apathy. Otherwise, what else can justify the fact that 100% of 70 million registered, only for 35% of the 70 million voted?
Now, from the work that you have done in the National Orientation Agency, NOA, what can account for voter apathy?
Yeah, there are quite a number of reasons that can lead to apathy of the voter. First and foremost, from what we have experienced over the years, there are people who usually would consider security situation. And this is based on their past experience where they have seen political violence, snatching of ballot boxes, and so on and so forth. Now, if in an election, before that election, there is so much tension in the polity, the tendency is for an average voter who has interest to vote to feel that I'm not safe. And therefore, you find a lot of them will stay away, I will not go to vote. Of course, there are people, no matter what you say to them, they have made up their mind they will not vote, and they will not vote, they will not go. They may not have any particularly clear reason for that, but their choice is that they are not ready to vote. Quite a number of reasons, like I said, again, there are people who believe that, look, whether I vote or I don't vote, my vote does not count. And so for him, the winner of that election is already predetermined. And therefore, why should he waste his time? But happily, I think votes are beginning to count in our country, and I believe that that will change the orientation.
Now, Dr. Mogalu, let's look at who to blame now. We're not apportioning blame, but I think we should be able to pinpoint whether it is the political parties, because if we have 35% of 100 coming out to vote on election day, that's not good for democracy. Who do we blame? Do we say the politicians don't do their homework very well? Or is it the civil society? Or is it even the orientation agencies like NOA, for instance?
For me, I would not want to look at it from the perspective of who to blame, because I rather want to look at it from the challenges. Why is this so? And what are the efforts being made to correct it? Because like Dogo rightly said, some of them is about perception. It may not be the reality on the ground. Like the issue he raised about security challenges. People can say, well, that is not ready to take any risk for anybody. Because of that, I don't want to be involved. There are other reasons. Some people may not even think it is important. And that is why we talk about the literacy level, the need for voter education, so that people can see it as what they are while. So they can participate in determining who is going to lead them. The importance of the process also has to be made available for people to understand, and they can key in. It becomes a lot easier. Then the question now is, what do we do to reawaken the interest? You find out that some people may be so interested in the electoral process, the moment the person they're expecting to emerge on the ballot fails to emerge, for him or her, the matter is over. There's no more. But such people need to be educated. They need to be made to understand that it may not be about the person, but it may be about building a process. Who does that? Yes, a lot of people are involved. A lot of institutions are involved. One, the political party has a role to play here. The government agencies, even INEC, the agency charged with the responsibility of conducting elections, has a role to play here. The civil society groups has a role to play here. Even the National Orientation Agency, everybody has a role to play here. The important thing here is we need to educate our people. We need to convince them. We need to get them to buy into the process so that they can be part of what is happening, so that they can understand the importance. They can know that it is only through this process that you can determine who will run your affairs for you for so and so time as may have been provided for by the Constitution. So the political parties, even the politician himself, for example, the candidate needs to do a lot of work to get his supporters.
Okay, Dr. Mogalu. There are people who will say, oh yeah, we've been voting. What did we bring back from it? That can be the source of...
It's also part of the challenge.
So that is to you, the politicians.
It is part of the challenge. Like he rightly said, there may be voter apathy. Initially, a lot of people have already allowed it to sit into their heads that my vote will not count. For such people, they've had experiences of, oh, they voted for somebody, eventually the process was manipulated, and the actual result didn't come out. Therefore, why am I going to waste my time? There are cases like this. You can't rule that out. There are also cases of, in some of the areas we have had crisis in this country, people can get scared away because of the challenges of insecurity. That's also possible. But in this instance, what do we do?
No, but before we get to that, there are people who will say, okay, look at the situation in the country now, just saying, we voted, what did we bring back? There are people like that, and that impinges on the performance of the political class.
I agree, but the point here is that what are the expectations? Because as we vary, our expectations also vary. For me, who is voting for Mr. A, I may be expecting that this road that has passed in front of my house should also be repaired. And if it fails to happen, or I'll say, oh, these people they've stolen the money. It may not be true.
Yes.
Again, some people who vote even legislators into office, they are not able to separate the difference between a legislator and a member of the executive.
Yes.
Because in a proper climate, what do you expect? An executive is there to make law, pass the budget, get things done, put things in place. Yes, it is now for the executive to implement. But for the average person in the society,
yes,
in our localities, who are uneducated, I have voted for you, I want tomorrow, I want power, 100%.
yes,
The next day, I want this road that passed in front of our village to be tarred. I want everything, I want everything.
Well, again, I want to come to your house tomorrow when my father dies. You have to give me money
Correct.
to bury.
Not even minding whether you have the money or what your expectations are,
yes,
as a person. But he feels that he is entitled.
Yes.
It's a case of entitlement, that having put you in that office by virtue of that my one vote,
Yes.
that whatever is my problem, you must solve
You must
it.
fix it. Now, that brings us to what you tell the prospective voters when you go out for your campaign or a national orientation agency. What do you tell them? You know, because coming out to vote during election is key to democracy.
Yeah, there are a lot of things we tell the voter. First and foremost, the voter is made to understand that the vote is his power. Just before we started this discussion, I think he was raising an issue of the equality in terms of the value of vote between the ordinary man on the street and a professor.
Yeah.
Okay? So people must understand that their votes are very, very important, and that one single vote can change the future of a country.
To make a difference.
And their participation in the political process is very important, because they are the ones who will decide the people to rule them. Okay? So all these things, the people are told the essence of voting, the essence of politics as a whole. People must understand that politics is for development. Politics is for peace and development and unity. And if you don't go to vote to put in the right people in place, then what you are looking for, you are not likely going to get it. So we encourage people, but I think what we need to do is that all the stakeholders that are involved, the political parties, civil society, the NOA, we must work together. For example, the political parties must also realize that political education is an important function that they must carry. And this must be sustained over time. It's not something you just do during electioneering and you forget about it. You must continue to engage the people, you know, over time, for them to understand the essence of politics and why they need to be part of it. Okay, we as NOA are also doing that. Okay. For example, there is a program we do at the local government level. We call it Local Government Assembly. What do? We bring the chairman, the councillors, we bring the people, we sit together. Chairman, councillors, tell the people what you have done based on the promises you have made to them. And then people will ask questions. In fact, sometimes there are people who say, yes, what you have said is true or not. People will verify it there on the field. Now, what are we trying to teach them? That those who are elected must be accountable to the people. And those who have elected you have the power to call you to account.
Now, that brings us to the issue of the capacity of the orientation agency. How much of the FCT are you able to cover? Your staff, the mobility that you have. That's key. Providing resources for the agencies or organization. Can we say we are there yet? Or?
Yeah, let me say that we are doing our very best within the limited resources that are available. One thing I need to say here is that, you know, the mobilizer needs to be mobilized. Okay? To mobilize, you need funds, you need vehicles. Now, in the FCT here, we have 6 area councils. But if you look at nationwide, we have 774 local governments.
Yes.
Now, if I want to do a single program of just trying to educate the people about the need for them to go and vote, just one single program, and I will need to spend just about 50,000, modestly. Now multiply 50,000 by 774. You are talking of close to 50 million, just for one program. And in communication, people will tell you that you need to repeat something about 7 times before it settles down, you know, in the mind of somebody.
So this challenge,
the challenges are there, resources and so on. But we are not relenting. We are doing our best. We are working with area council chairmen who are also supporting it and other stakeholders.
Thank you. Now, we will now look at voter apathy against the backdrop of 2019. This is a period now that we are now almost prostrating to people to go and collect their PVCs. The number of those that have collected is abysmal. But we'll be addressing such issues when we come back from this break. During the day, Nigerians spoke on this issue of voter apathy. Let's give them opportunity to equally ventilate their views.
I have my PVC, but I didn't register in those places. I registered at my state.
Did you vote in the previous election?
No, I didn't. That's my first time, so I wanted trying it out in this presidential election. And I don't know how to get it now to go, because I don't know. I know I'm not going to go back to my state before the election is over. So I'm also trying to make a suggestion in the sense of, as in there should be a way where they can, even though if you didn't register in those particular place, you should be able to get your PVC if you go to another place, like in another state. That was what I'm trying to say. Like
precisely, I started voting last year.
Last year?
Yeah. Sorry, last previous election. Yeah.
Do you intend to vote in the upcoming election?
Yes. I'll vote.
You have a PVC?
I
Do you vote?
No, it's not yet.
Actually, I've never voted before. Though I will try to vote, but though I don't know where I'm going to get the PVC.
But if you're announcing it, you don't know where to get it.
I don't know where. I've not seen them in my area before.
Okay.
Of course, I've been doing all the vote, I've been doing electoral voting.
Okay. Do you intend to vote in the upcoming election?
Why not? I would. That's my power, I'll vote.
Have you been voting during election?
Yes, I've been voting during election.
Do you intend to vote in the upcoming election?
Yes, of course, I intend to vote.
Right from the time of SDP, I always vote.
Do you intend to vote in the upcoming election?
Certainly, I'm a Nigerian citizen, and it's my responsibility to vote. So I have to vote.
Election?
Yes.
You have been voting?
Yes.
Okay. Do you intend to vote in the upcoming election?
Yes.
Yeah?
That's impressive. Many Nigerians are ready and willing to vote in 2019 election, but I don't think that is representative of what INEC is saying, especially the number of those Nigerians that have registered and collected their PVC. It's still a challenge. Now, what kind of 2019 with that kind of scenario? Many people, they want to vote, but they don't have PVC. Some have even registered, they can't collect their PVC, or are not willing to go there and collect it. What are the challenges that this can pose for ensuring that we have a very good, credible election in 2015?
It goes back to what we've been saying. It's all about apathy. But this time around, what I want to prescribe is that we need to do a lot of work, both from the political party angle, both from INEC, both from National Registration Agency. It's our national responsibility. We must mobilize our people. We must get our people to understand the need for this voter card. It's your power. Like somebody, one of the people who spoke there,
yes.
He said, it's his power. Because that's what you need to effect any change. One vote, like David said, one vote counts. Because one vote can turn an election. And then the person who is likely to be the best option for a people may be lost because of one vote. So we need to increase our effort. But the political party is across board now, because I want to look at it strictly from, not from a partisan perspective, but from the perspective of a national responsibility, so that we can get our people to key into this national assignment. When we have done this, the volume of the PVCs that are still lying idle can also significantly reduce. I also want to use the opportunity to appeal to INEC. They have to create more outlets. Well, you see, we have to take these things to the people. If we create any bottleneck, people who don't want to even collect the voters card, if you give them an opportunity to have an excuse, they will do that. But if we create the opportunity for them to reduce the challenge.
Dr. Mogale, I hate to go personal.
Yes.
You are a senior member of the governing party. Yes. Most of these things that you are talking about rest with your political party. The party can make a difference. Now, from the point of view of the APC, the ruling party, what do you think can be done? Because it is the government that will conduct the next election. So if we have voter apathy, it's still, well, it's INEC, but it's again to every one of us, to the party. So what must be done by the ruling party, and indeed all other political parties, to ensure that people come out in large number?
Not only what can we do, we're already doing something, because we are getting our state chapters, our local government chapters involved. We are getting them to see the need, because they're part of the society. Every one of us is part of this general society. So we're getting everybody involved up to the ward levels. We are talking to the leadership of the party in the wards. We get them, please encourage our supporters. Even if you don't want to encourage, please encourage those, our supporters. Let them go and get their PVCs. Because without PVC, you cannot vote. You can sit in your house and criticize from now till the kingdom come. But if you don't have a voter's card, which you are going to use to express yourself on the day of voting, all your criticism or whatever expectations you have will be cut short. So as a party, we are doing that. I'm also aware, that we're encouraging government agencies. I agree with you that the agencies of government today are being run by appointees of our government. They also see the concern of Mr. President. They see the concern of the executive today, that there is a need. If there is anything, I'm confident that this government wants to bequeath to the Nigerian society, it is a very credible electoral process.
Okay.
That I can speak authoritatively, because Mr. President has spoken about it in very many forums. The party leadership has spoken about it. So if this is part of what we need to do, which I think it is, we will sustain the effort being made to encourage people to go and get their PVCs so that it can be all involving.
Okay. Now, let's look at, because there are people out there, like we even had in some of the interviews on this program, they are willing to vote, but they don't have PVC. Some have voted in the past and have interest in, to vote again. If you have people like this, when you go out for campaign, what will you tell them? What will you tell Nigerians now about PVCs, about voting?
Yeah, first and foremost, what we do is, first, if you had registered and you have the temporary card, we advise people to go for the PVC. You just go to the electoral office, either in the area council or local government, and then you collect it. Now, if you have not registered before, probably because you've now attained 18 years, you can go and register. And that is why INEC introduced the CVR, Continuous Voters Registration, last year, April.
Yes.
And it's ongoing. Now, if like one of the ladies said that she registered somewhere, but she's now in Abuja, you can transfer. You can transfer your PVC from wherever you had registered before and bring it to your present place of location. All those things are ongoing. Now, I know when the registration started, people were complaining about outlets, because initially INEC was doing them only in the local government offices, but later they increased the outlets. But I think from what we are seeing, we may need to increase the outlets and make it a lot easier for people to within a close proximity, be able to collect their PVC.
Yes. Now, you mentioned it in your last contribution. That's on our votes to count. People need that assurance that come 2019, or even this Ekiti election that we're having on Saturday, that people's votes will count.
I am confident. I am very confident that people's votes have started counting and will continue to count and will continue to improve on the process as we get along. We have a government that is committed and dedicated to bequeathing to Nigerians a credible electoral process. And that is why today, even the INEC chairman, from what I read in the dailies a few days back, said they are going to improve that. As far as they are concerned, what will happen in Ekiti will certainly be an improvement of what happened in Anambra State. And I get encouraged when I hear such comments from the electoral umpires. So it behoves now us, the politicians, to behave ourselves. It's not about do or die. I keep telling people, if you don't win today, who says you won't win tomorrow? The political life history of our president is enough to be a guiding force for anybody. He tried in 2003, it didn't work. Tried in 2007, it didn't work. Tried in 2011, it didn't work. Eventually, 2015, Nigeria said, okay, fine, this is the person we want. So why would my own case be different?
Yes.
So why don't we take things easy? The political class must understand that one, to serve, if you offer yourself to serve a people and they say no, don't serve now, you patiently wait. It is not worth killing somebody. It is not worth creating a violent environment. The important thing is wait for the time God has destined it to happen.
Thank you. Thank you. On that very, very advisory note, I hope politicians like you, they are listening. Yes. We say thank you very much, Dr. Mogalu, National Auditor of the Governing All Progressives Congress, for coming on the program.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, and I also want to thank David Dodo, Director, FCT National Orientation Agency. David Dogo.
Yes.
Dogo means stall.
Yeah.
I thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
This is where we call it a date on the program Nigeria Today, the first edition this week. We shall be back tomorrow with yet another topic. Bye-bye. I am Shaggy Ojelade.